Hey guys, so it's been a while since I've uploaded a new video. That's because I've been on vacation, went on a nice cruise. But I noticed while I was gone that a lot of you guys were looking at my AC videos, specifically charging a leaking R410 split system. So I figured this is probably, Dory is not alcohol. I figured it's probably due to the time of the year, so I just want to do a quick video on drain lines, specifically condensation drain lines. So maybe wondering, what is condensation? So it's the same stuff that will show up on the outside of your cold glass in the middle of the day if you have ice in there. AC systems, when they're running, generate condensation. It's merely just water. They can generate quite a bit of condensation, and it's all often drained down a pipe just like this. It's a Schedule 40 3/4 inch PVC. And over time, the inside of this pipe, well, this is just a demo, but the inside of this pipe will be clogged with stuff that kind of resembles snot. It's bacterial growth, fungus, whatever grows in these things. So over time, that will cause the system to back up, and if you are lucky enough to have a float switch, the unit will shut off. That can manifest itself as a no-cool situation where the fan inside is blowing warm air and the outside unit is not running. You may not see any display on your thermostat. The power may be off. That's typically how they manifest, and like I said, if you're lucky, that's what will happen. If you're not so lucky, the primary pan will overflow, fill the secondary pan if you have one, and if your air conditioning is mounted in an attic, then the unit will overflow and perhaps collapse your ceiling. That happened to one of my neighbors not too long ago. So you want to keep an eye on this. Again, hopefully you have a drain switch. If you don't, I would highly recommend picking one up. They come in all shapes and sizes, but I keep them on hand just in case mine go bad or a friend or a neighbor needs one. This is the AquaGuard series from Rector Seal. You can pick these up on maybe 20-25 bucks on Amazon. It has a sensor for the secondary pan, and it also has the primary sensor. So if it senses water building up, it will shut the unit off. So pretty straightforward. Now, seeing as how it's Father's Day, it's Sunday, all AC companies are closed. I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you may be having a drain line backup. So how can you clear it without paying an AC guy several $100s? Well, there's a couple of ways. One is a garden hose. You have to be very, very careful doing that. I'll show you in a couple minutes how that's done. There are a bunch of different products in the market for sucking drain lines out. I forget the name of it, but it's maybe 25-30 bucks. You really don't need that. You'll notice that this fitting right here, if you can see that, just an ordinary shop vac fitting. You can pick these up at Lowe's or Home Depot. So if you have a shop vac, pick one of these up for a couple bucks, and you'll notice it fits very nicely on the outside, a 3/4 inch PVC. Gives you a nice tight seal. So you don't need any expensive AC proprietary products. It's just a shop vac hose adapter. You'll find that. Yeah, it's to adapt a larger hose to go on a smaller tool like this. So that's what it's designed for. But you can also use it to hook your shop vac up to 3/4 inch PVC and suck the drain line out. So that becomes a very inexpensive, cost-effective way to clear the line. Sometimes the clog will come out very easily. Other times you kind of have to pulse it. So that's one way. Now, what the AC guys do is they will carry a bottle of dry nitrogen and they will blow the lines out from the air handler. So what they'll do is they'll typically cut the pipe with PVC pipe cutters. I'll show you what those look like, if I can find them. Let's see where. Oh, go in my plumbing toolbox here. So they look like these. You can also pick these up at home centers. You'll find them in the sprinkler aisle or in the PVC aisle, but they're just ratcheting cutters. So they'll cut a piece off the pipe in your attic or in your garage, wherever your air handler may be, and they will plug an adapter into that, and they will blow dry nitrogen through it. So this type of a setup is a bit costly. It's kind of proprietary to the AC industry. So what I did instead, and I kind of showed you guys this a little bit before, I bought this portable air tank at Lowe's for maybe 50, 60, 70 bucks. I don't really remember. I had this spare air hose laying around, and I put a 3/4 inch ball valve here, adapters to adapt the 1/4 inch air fitting to the ball valve, a Schedule 80 PVC fitting on the end here, so I can deal with either male pipes or female pipes. So like I said, you cut the PVC off. So in my case, I'd be dealing with the male pipe in my attic because I just cut off a piece. You hook that up, like so, and just pulse it with air. So that's along the lines of what an AC guy would do. In fact, that's what they typically do. Some will try to suck the lines out with this type of a tool, and others will try to blow it out. Both will work. Now, you may be asking, all right, how do I prevent this from happening again? There are products in the market. This is just one. This is a product called Pan Treat by New Calgon. They're a very widely known brand in the AC industry. You can pick these up on Amazon too. Just follow the instructions in the bottle. If your AC is easy to access, like if it's in the garage, which would be fantastic, mine is not, mine's in the attic, then just shove a couple of these in the drain line every month or two. And that should prevent any clogs. All right, so that's kind of an overview of condensation issues. So I think we'll head up into the attic and I'll kind of show you how this would work. Let me just grab a light. All right, guys, we're gonna go in the attic. I'm gonna demonstrate I guess the second method, blowing out the lines with this tool that I showed you. Now, I know for a fact mine are fairly clean, but we'll show it nonetheless. And I've got 2 air conditioners up here. Shut that door. Let's go upstairs. And my lines are already cut, so I don't need to bring the cutter. So here we go into the abyss. It's not too warm up here yet. It's not bad. Don't worry, I've got a flashlight in my pocket. Alright, so we got that. Let's do the first unit over here to my right. You can see the drain line right there, covered in that plastic sheeting there. This unit was installed in 2015, I believe. Now, I mentioned before that if you're doing this with a garden hose, you got to be really careful. And the reason why is because it's very easy to overflow this primary pan in the bottom of this unit and fill this pan with water. Then you trip your sensor. Oh, a little cucaracha there. Nice. So I believe I left a slip fitting right in here. Somewhere in here. Yep, right there. Just bend that up. So now we do. Notice that this is apart now. You can see there is some snot in there, not too bad. Slide that in there. Hopefully you guys can see all this. Let's check and make sure. So here is that sensor I showed you before, the primary sensor. There's the backup sensor, the pan, and we have our apparatus hooked up here. Now we're just going to send some air through it. And bursts. This is the kind of stuff that builds up. Should have brought some pan tablets up with me. Oh, starting to overflow here. Alright, so let's take this out. And we'll hook this back up here. Let that water drain out. It's okay if you spill a little bit, you won't hurt anything. Need to get some new tape for this. Now this foam is on the pipe to insulate it because as it's coming out of the unit, the water is cold. So you don't want the condensation pipe to build condensation. Let's see if that's gonna hold. Probably not. Nope. So we need to get some new tape to hold that. But you see how much water came out of that in just a couple of seconds of it sitting up there. Oh look, fire starter, cool. I always find new tools when I come up in the attic. Anytime I come up here, I just do a kind of a cursory view, see if I see anything obviously wrong. Now this AC contractor put the dryer here, which is great because it's not subject to as much corrosion out here as it would be if it were outside. And out of scope for this video, but over there you see a dryer booster fan. Those things are awesome. So we just got to tape this up and we should be all set to go. I wonder if this is a slip joint here too. And what I'll do is I'll disconnect this here, this float switch. We'll shove a couple of pan tablets in there while we're up here. I gotta get some tape anyway. All right, I'm gonna grab the tape. We'll come back up. We'll shove some pan tablets in there. All right, so I got some duct tape. Well, actually not duct tape, it's foil tape. Duct tape is pretty much useless for ducks, ironically. Hope you guys can see that. Let's see, can you? All right, anyway. Now we're going to unscrew this right here. I think it's going to be a two-handed operation. The fitting's coming out too. Actually, we'll just take the whole thing out. Be able to get the pan tablets in there better. Now you really should take this whole cover off and clean the pan out that way. It's just a lot of work. This one actually isn't that bad anyway. I'm rooting around in there. A little bit of water, but not too much. Not too much snot. And it's the snot that we worry about, not the water. Going to take a bunch of these things and just kind of throw them in there. Oops, that one fell out. There's instructions on the bottle that say how many to use, but instructions are for girls, right? All right, so we got that. Now, this switch that I showed you is not the most common one in the world, is AquaGuard. You'll more likely have a float switch. They're a lot less annoying than these things are. These things, even if they look at water, they trip. But they work very well. So I'm just screwing this back in. And then we plug in the electrical connector, and this unit should be good. Just like that. And if this thing got tripped, there's a red light will show up down here, so we'll just make sure that that doesn't come on. We'll sit here for a minute. Side note, I never understood why they don't put stainless steel fasteners, whoops, seizure mode, on these cabinets. I mean, this is only a couple years old, and look, everything's all rusted already. I mean, how much more would that really cost? Be lucky to get another 3 or 4 years out of this unit. It's a shame. For those of you that are wondering, this is a ream. It's a RH1T3617STANJA, installed by Boca Air Conditioning. All right, so no red light. We're good. On to the next unit. Oh, gotta tape this up first. 2-minute operation. So I'm just gonna replace the tape, the duct tape that was on there, with this foil tape. Just like that. Wonderful. Okay. All right, so this unit is done. Now on to that unit over there. All right, so same deal with this one. I shoved some pan tablets in there. It's actually the same unit. You see how this one's in much better shape. This one doesn't see as much action as the other one. They're both 2.5 tons. I guess one side of the house is just a little bit bigger. Might get them to upgrade that one over there to a 3-ton. Some of you are probably saying, hey, wait, that air handler is a 3-ton. Okay, yeah, but the outdoor unit's a 2.5-ton. So they are a match set, but still a 2.5-ton unit. It has 2.5 tons of cooling power. And a little trick, you can see how big a unit is designed to run by just looking at the model number. So before you heard me read off that 36 number right there, the RH1T36. The 36 is the BTU rating in thousands, so it's 36,000 BTUs. There's 12,000 BTUs to a ton, so that's a 3-ton blower. All right, so we got that. Let's see, is there a slip fitting in here? Looks like there might be. Been a while since I've done this. If I was smart, I would have brought enough stuff to blow both units out. Enough tape, rather. So that was a slip joint. I'll just shove some air in there. Okay. That one's done too. Let's cover it back up. Put our tape back on. That might hold. Doesn't really take a lot. And we'll just, I think we're good here too. So that's how you can blow the lines out from above. Now I'll show you how you can suction them out from outside, but I think it's raining. You know what? I know these lines are clean. I'm not going to drag the whole apparatus outside, but I'll show you how to hook things up. All right, so on to the next method. So I'm assuming you probably have a vacuum like that. It doesn't have to be that big. But as long as you have a hose that fits this adapter, or a hose that's this size already, you're good to go. I'm not going to wheel the vacuum outside just because I know the lines are clear and it's raining outside, but wheel your vacuum outside. And just imagine there's a shop vac attached to this end. Find your AC drain lines. I have 2 here because I have 2 AC units, but most properties will have one. It looks like one blew off when I blew the lines out before. Let's get the open up the code. Hang on a second, I can't do this one-handed. All right, got everything unlocked. So you see here, these are the two drains. You notice there's a P-trap in there to catch all the debris. And you can see that because of the pan tablets we threw in there, this water's turning a different color and it's getting kind of murky. So the pan tablets are doing their job. But all you really need to do is hook up your shop vac to the lines like that and just pulse it on and off, pulse it on and off, and that should suck everything out eventually. I find that this method takes a bit longer, but it is also quite effective. If you don't feel like going in the attic or your AC units are very inaccessible, this will work too. It just might take a little bit longer, but this is a very low cost way to suck your drain lines out as opposed to blowing them out. Now, before I talked about the garden hose, and this one you have to be very, very careful with because again, you don't want to overload those pans because they will overflow and then you'll have the same problem you're trying to avoid. So what I typically do is I'll hook up the garden hose like this after I untwist it and just do short bursts. So we'll go like no more than a couple of seconds. And if things are really dirty, you'll see crap start to come out. A short burst. Just like that. Now this is kind of a judgment call because who knows how long these lines are. Your lines might be shorter or longer than mine, so you got to be careful. I am not responsible for any floods you cause in your house if you decide to go with this method. If you want to be really careful, have someone sit in the attic and just make sure you're not causing any problems. You know, have an open cell connection with them. I have triggered my float switches with this method before, so it is possible for you to do this wrong. And I always blow out the traps too. That's one unit. I'll do the next one. And again, I knew these were pretty clear, so this is just for demonstration purposes. You can see there's not a whole lot coming out of there. Trap. And that's a wrap. Hope this helps you.